Welcome to this webinar series. Let's get started.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you very much, Mary, for the warm welcome.
Thank you all for being here.
Yes, definitely. Thank you for joining us today. And I mean, while we share this experience we have been working with for the last 2 years, collecting data from different teachers. So let's get started. I'm going to start sharing my screen. Please let me know if you guys can see it. Yes, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, great. So I'm gonna go to slideshow now. Okay, great, there it is. Okay, so thank you very much for being here. It's an honor for us, Mary. Thank you for having us. So we're gonna discuss today something that we have been dealing with during the last 2 years, or for the last 2 years. We have been working online most of the time, and now probably the reality has changed a little bit, and that's what we're going to be also discussing about. We're going to be showing you some of the insights and findings we have had from our research, and also some of the recommendations for teachers if they are to keep working online teaching. Okay, so I want to show you this. Maybe I'm not going to play it all, but at least a little bit of the video. And I want to know, you can put it in the chat. I can still see some little cameras somewhere there. If this rings any bell to you.
Just let us know if you feel like these guys.
Yes.
Or if you felt like them 2 years ago.
Exactly.
All right, can you see me now? All right, I should be good now. Everybody see me?
How cool, I get to use the Zoom thing. Wait, click the what? Okay, I got the cords, now what?
Oh, you have a dog. Well, don't be careful with your, wow, you have a cat. Aw, everyone has pets to show. Awesome.
Day 2, got an email. Apparently we got to design our own lesson plans for the online curriculum. Anyways, long story short, freaked out, spent $4,000 on teachers, paid teachers.
District is confused, kids are confused, parents are confused, teachers are confused. One thing we're not confused about is how confused we is.
Good morning, students. Welcome to another day of online class. So today we're going to get back into chapter 6. Does anyone have any questions about bimetallism or westward expansion?
Conjugation is where you...
We're going to act as if we are really in school. At school, do you guys just get to go in and out the refrigerator as you please? No, you don't. So get out the kitchen.
Yeah, no, this is my fancy office when everyone else is being so loud in my house.
New email. We understand this can be stressful, so we have assembled this easy list of 145 strategies for you to use while teaching online. Read over them and be prepared to discuss all of them at the next Zoom meeting tomorrow. Be ready. Oh, great. Of course.
Online learning, distant learning, whatever you want to call it. Google Classroom, MS
Yeah,
Teams,
I'm going to
and
stop it
Modo,
there,
Mind.
so, because it's a little longer. But I guess at the beginning of the whole situation with online learning and remote teaching due to the COVID pandemic, we were all, or most of the teachers were all, feeling something similar or somewhat similar to the people we're watching on this video. So after a year of COVID and working online, Professor Alidio and me, and also Professor Fred, who could not be here today with us, we decided to launch a small survey and start a small research. At least in 13 different countries where we had some contact with teachers and get some data to see how was it after a year. At the beginning, this was madness probably for so many, but then what happened after a year, and then this year also, by at the end of 2021 and at the beginning of this one, we again went on getting some data. And there were some findings.
I should be good.
So where were we 1 year after the pandemics? That means 2021 when we started our research. we were sending a survey to different colleagues around the world, and we're going to highlight some of the information we found here that they provided. How do you feel with online teaching modality? This was one of the first questions we made to them in May 2021. And this is the information we got. I mean, still some teachers, like 11.30% of the teachers we surveyed said that there was something still uncertain for them, that they did not feel okay with it. It's that, I mean, some others say like it was okay. I mean, a year had passed already, so maybe they started, to deal with the whole thing. And only 26%, I mean, said that they felt prepared with this. That was in May 2021. We also asked them, have you received any type of training from your workplace or institution? And as you can see, only 45% said yes. And most of them that said yes came from private schools or institutions. The ones that were left behind most of the times are the teachers that normally work in public schools and public institutions. And so you can see there is almost the same amount of teachers saying no, or a few times if you put that together. In May 2021, after 1 year, teachers were still struggling with teaching online and remote teaching. So that was the reality in May. And at that point, in May 2021, we could notice that teachers, they considered they had not received enough training for online teaching. They thought, despite the circumstances, they were at least trying, which is what we're seeing the difference from the beginning to May 2021, a year after. They failed, they were adjusting, and so the students, and they were sure there was still a long road to make, and they were right. This is what we faced the first time we talked to teachers and we started collecting data a year after pandemic. But go on.
So one of the things we did take advantage of was the fact that many of our colleagues and students and former students were already working on different countries, and that's the reason why we took advantage of that, and we through this survey, and the results were quite shocking that first year. Same way we did the second, and December 2021, the second survey, we wanted to know if things had changed, if things had improved, or if they had gone worse. Because as you saw in the video, many of us were caught off guard. Right? And I say many of us, I want to include myself, because many were not expecting to go all time online. Okay, so teachers in December 2021, how challenging has teaching been during the pandemic? And this is a very interesting question. 76.9% still had the feeling that they were struggling, and it was a challenge to take the classes, face-to-face classes, to an online program. Okay, so that's quite a lot. If you come to think about it, after a year, you probably think that they had lots of time to get ready, or to have the proper preparation, or the instruments at least. Okay. Next. And then we had the second question was, have you had the necessary resources during pandemic times? We can see a little difference or a little improvement in comparison with the previous charts, the ones that Johannes already talked about. 15.4% said yes, we've had the necessary resources. Again, many of these yes answers came from private institutions, whereas the state institutions answered 26.9 or 57.7% as a not many or not at all. Okay. Have you gotten any training on your own or from your institution? As in the video, you saw a guy saying that he had spent $4,000 on teachers pay teachers, right? I mean, yes, we most of the time teachers are creative and resourceful, and thank God we do have a great community. Yet this community was not enough for many, and we had to reach out to private presentations. And here's where Coursera, for example, Domestika, and many other platforms for training helped teachers to acquire necessary skills for online training. We confronted situations where teachers had never been in front of the camera. They had never done a video. They had never chat online with their students. So many of the teachers went on a private quest for their training, and you can see it here. 53.8% answered a few, 26.9% answered yes, and 19.2% not at all. I mean, we still have almost a quarter of the survey teachers had not yet been trained or prepared for this. And then we wanted to see if this was a global phenomenon. We checked out on Twitter, and we found out very recent. You can see the dates: January, February. There's one that's even 3 hours ago. So we have these tweets saying that they were not ready. They were not completely ready to go back to face-to-face as the pandemic levels are coming down. And one of the ones I really want to focus on is on the one at the bottom, right on the the Twitter symbol. It says, it's crazy that the National Council of Teachers Quality Teacher Preparation Policy Report 2021 did not mention technology integration as a major need for teacher preparation programs. Let's hope 2022 edition, which should be coming out, recommends this. I mean, after all this mess we've been through, how come state authorities do not consider teaching online or technological integration an essential skill to be taught or to have the teachers prepared? Okay, this is worrying. This is worrying because pandemic levels are coming down, yes, but this was probably the first call. We don't know how. We have seen the pandemic spike and go on irregular scales. Okay, so this is kind of worrying that the governments are not taking this as a warning sign. Thanks.
I think another important thing we can mention here is that we also found some tweets that mentioned that teachers really didn't want to go back to school.
They
They wanted
don't.
to stay online.
They didn't feel safe, right? For example, there's one here that says, please do not send your students who are sick with just a scratchy throat back to school without seeking medical attention. I mean, this fear is evident here, right? This fear for coming back face to face is here. Is here. All right. So current insights. Not much has changed. We saw it on the graphics. Internet usage is still a big issue, right? Especially in countries where the speed has always been an issue, like our home country, right? Like our home country. Text through WhatsApp or regular messages are still common. Johannes?
Yes, I mean,
and we will be talking about this in a moment. Despite the lack of technology, we have seriously overcome barriers. I have to put my hands together for you guys because teachers have shown to be resourceful and prepared beyond what was expected. Okay? Way beyond what many people expected. And working with the students, with home issues, with the children at home, with the pets at home, the space, even the space. You saw someone in the closet, hiding in the closet, trying to hide away from the children. Okay, so this has been a great issue. We need practical ways of reaching out to students, and we really hope that our technological partners out there are considering not just technological advances for absolutely everything, but also for teaching. We really hope for that. Okay.
So what do we do then? I mean, we have come so far for 2 years, struggling at the beginning with what is this, what are we going to do? You are to create your own curriculum online for teaching online, because that's the way we're going to teach now. Then after a year, to have maybe certain training, and then in December 2021, learning that they still feel uncertain, that they still, the teachers still need some more training for online teaching. And then just this year, when most of the schools are going back together everywhere, like, I mean, like, let's go normal to classes with the, you know, COVID biosecurity measures. Some teachers and even students, we found some tweets when we were searching this, researching this, they don't want to back to school. They don't want to go back to school. So what do we do? Depending on the situation, or if we're going hybrid, or if we're going back to school, or if we're still going online, there are some things that we all as teachers need to have in mind and consider. No matter if you're online or back in the classroom, number one, you need to stay conscious. You need to know your pros and cons. We have always dealt with this, especially the ones that have had the opportunity or the chance to work in public schools. We know that the lack of resources, sometimes there's, I mean, consideration at all from our supervisors, but there are other ways on how we have been able to achieve our goals with our students despite the situations. So no matter if we go online or we're back to school, you know, regular school, we need to know and to stay conscious what I can do, what I can do, what I have, what I don't have. Another important thing is that we need to learn students' reality. I mean, what do my students have? They have computers at home? No, they only have one smartphone. They can connect. No, they cannot connect. So in order for us to look for alternative on how to reach them, if technology is required for us to teach. And it doesn't matter that if we're not online. I mean, we understand that for teaching technology, it's something that is reliable. There are many tools that can help us, even if we're back to regular classroom, on how we can achieve and improve our target when we're teaching the language in regular classroom settings. You know, acknowledge your resources. How can they help you teach? I mean, instead of spending time us complaining of what we don't have, well, this is what I have, and this is what how I'm going to use them. I have this, but I don't know how to use it. What is this app for? How can I use this resource? Well, that's why networking is very important, and we will learn about this later on. Be open-minded. Try different things and listen to others. You need to connect to other teachers. You need to share your experience, your teaching experiences with others, so they can share theirs with you. And then you will be able to learn how to work, maybe in a context that you had not worked before, like the one we started working on when we started.
It's very important to network. It's very
definitely. Definitely, because maybe you're struggling with something that already someone passed through that. He did. He overcame a situation similar to the one that you have been dealing with, so they can help. And your experience is also useful for someone else that maybe is going through something that you already passed and left behind. So it is very important. We need to have a backup plan. Don't you dare to have only one alternative, especially if you're just teaching online. You cannot have only one resource for your lesson. That's, I mean, no. Okay, you need to have plan A, B, C, D, E, F, G, even till Z, if possible, just in case something happens with your technology, something happens with the student's app, or the camera of the student is not working, the app does not, I mean, is not working for the student. You have to be prepared for that. Just like you have to be prepared if you are in the classroom. There, you need always a backup plan. So these considerations are not only for online teaching, but also for regular classes, you know, like in a classroom. So what can we use? What are some resources that we can work with online teaching, or even though while we are working in regular lessons? Even if you have a low connectivity, you know, you live in a low connectivity area. So some of the things that we can work with, as you can see, at least in the surveys we were working on to make this research, we survey a lot of teachers that work in a low connectivity context area. You know, they didn't have as much internet. They said that the most common resource they were using was WhatsApp, because, well, most of people have a smartphone. They pay what they need to pay to get some data, you know, there, some megas, and, well, they work with that. So what is this app useful for if people are just using it for chat or sharing videos? Well, you as a teacher can work with this for a different skill. WhatsApp offers different things: voice notes, calls, video groups, and chats. So some of the activities that you can work with using this for low connectivity context, teachers can prepare sample audios. If you want your students to work on listening and practice and develop the listening skill, comprehension. Okay, my student doesn't have internet at home, teacher, he only has a smartphone. Well, work with audios. If you send a voice note with an audio, with a script that you want the student to work with and practice, they can download it. Eventually, it will download on their phones and they will be able to work. So you can work, you know, listening activities, comprehension listening activities. For context with better internet, which is great, well, teachers can work out small role plays on video calls. Right now, video calls on WhatsApp do not allow only just, two people talking. You can have 3, you can have 4. Okay, so maybe this resource can help you work on practicing speaking and also listening and developing an activity with your students. And it's not just because you're teaching online and it is the only way to achieve your students. Maybe you're teaching regular classes, but you're also giving your students the opportunity to use something they normally use for spare time, you know, put it, you know, like an educational purpose so they can see how useful it is. So reading and writing activities can set on groups and foster collaborative work. You can have a group for your class, for your students. We can start developing, I don't know, comprising information if the student have like an intermediate level. So we have a text there. How can we comprise this? Everybody can, you know, work on that. I remember that I watched a presentation some years ago, a teacher showing how we can comprise information, teach students how to comprise information working on Twitter. And we were not working online back then. So there are many ways in which we can use a simple resource that, or an app that we normally use for everyday, you know, communication to help our students achieve certain goals in language. InShot. InShot, it's an app that helps you edit videos, just in case you want to be more interactive. And even though if you are working online and you don't have a computer, because that happens here, I'm here in Lima, and I have some colleagues that they have been working online using their smartphones because they don't have access to computers. So if you want to prepare a lesson, if you want to work on something for them to watch, and then you can connect on your phone to explain, well, you can use InShot as an app that helps you develop videos. You can work listening and speaking with this. What does InShot offers? Video creation and edition, and also picture collages, you know? So what activities can you work on that? For low connectivity context, teachers can prepare a collage to generate discussions or debates. I have a WhatsApp group, I prepare a collage of pictures, and I generate a debate or a discussion in the WhatsApp group, for example. Or maybe through Drive, that we're gonna watch that in some minutes. For context with better internet, teachers can prepare videos. I mean, I prepare a video with audio, with music, with words, with hints, with pictures, because InShot allows you to do that. And then you can send it to your students, and then you can have a class, and you just use your telephone to record yourself, and then you use InShot to edit it, and then you send it in case you're still working online or not. Teachers can generate a writing activity using pics or videos from InShot. You can ask students if you wanted to practice writing, you just send, maybe you could send a video or you can send a picture, you edit it with this app, and then you generate, different activities. There are resources that are free, like this ones, that you can work with in order to keep working the language with your students, no matter if you are online, no matter if you're blended, no matter if you are in regular classes. Another one that everybody has, the majority of teachers and students have, is Thrive, because most of the students and people around the world manage Gmail accounts. So if they have a Gmail account, they have access to Thrive. So what can I do with Thrive, teacher? You can work different for different skills. What offers? What does it offer? Forms, documents, slides, recording, images. So there are different activities you can prepare for this, and it's for free. If you want to pay a plus version of Google Classroom, great, if you have the means, but you don't need a pro version to work with this. So for low connectivity contexts, teachers can prepare a trivia using Google Forms or a writing activity using Google Docs. If you want students to participate in a collaborative writing activity or in a trivia, you can use a Google form to create a multiple choice trivia for them to participate and practice maybe what you have already been teaching in the classroom or online. For context with better internet context, better internet connection of an activity, teachers prepare videos or recordings or slideshows to review or practice language delivered in classes, online lessons or regular lessons, because everyone can have access to Drive as soon, when they have a Gmail account. And most of us have a Gmail account. Most of the teachers do, most of the students do, because they need an email account, and most of them are Gmail, to work with their smartphones, because Play Store asks for that. So everyone has access to this, even people with low connectivity. So these are some of the ideas you can incorporate in your lesson. It doesn't matter the reality you're living. We know that most of, at least Latin American countries and some Asian countries where we receive information from, they really lack of resources, but there are still some free resources that teachers can use, no matter if they're online or regular classes, for still promoting and using the technology in having their students learn the language.
Okay. And besides the apps that Johannes and the apps and the programs that Johannes also mentioned, we must always consider the fact that the teacher's preparation sometimes needs to go beyond the regular apps. So I also did some research on these new apps that I'm going to, about to present, and there's one that has been there but has not been well looked at. Let's begin with Jupyter. Okay, Jupyter is an app that allows me to develop voice recording and turn voice recordings into images and videos. This is a great app to work with or without the proper connectivity. And I just saw on the chat a couple of messages. My internet is not working well. I'll connect later on. This is something that we must also consider. The connectivity, not just of the students, also the teachers' connectivity. These are things that sometimes we do not measure. If you want to practice your listening and your speaking, you can use Jupyter. For example, with low connectivity context, the teacher can record a short reading and turn it into a listening activity and ask students to relate to that or answer some of the questions that the teacher can previously send. And for context, where internet is much better, teachers can ask students to record their own stories, because we can ask the students to download Jupyter into their phones and record their own stories, promote writing as well, because they need to write a script before they narrate or read their stories. And we can develop different language skills to be delivered in the classroom. That way you'll have students working alone or in a collaborative context. Okay, so that's why Jupyter is also a great resource for working alone or in teams. We also have a headliner, again, with videos, listening, reading, speaking, and writing. The 4 skills can be developed. You can create your audiograms. You can have voice recordings. You can have download images and use a voice on top of that. You can create videos, and you can foster script writing. For low connectivity context, teachers can ask students to write a short script. Maybe thinking on a podcast, they can create their own podcast and then record it. Or you can. I had the chance to work with a school in Madrid, and they had their own podcast, and the children were developing their chapters for the big podcast. Okay. So that's one good way of integrating students into a general project, right? Made for the school. And if you have better connectivity, you can ask students to turn their stories into a video, develop language skills delivered in the classroom. Okay. And the last one is Telegram, right? In Telegram, no, I was going to say something about headline, but let's move on. Telegram integrates the 4 skills. Telegram and WhatsApp have been great competitors. One of the things I like about Telegram is that Telegram integrates bots into its program, and bots are great because with a bot, for example, I use Telegram, and I have the Cambridge Dictionary bot deliver every single day new word of the day, expressions, videos. So you can have calls, you can have videos, you can even develop your own bot. Okay, if you are one of those teachers who like exploring, who likes working online, you can develop your own bot and develop the bot adapted for your students' needs. You can create a channel where you will be able to deliver to your students the necessary information and not necessarily have them participate into this news feed that you would create for them, right? You can create groups, you can promote chats. So Telegram has been great, has been a great help for those teachers who somehow do not rely on WhatsApp as much as others, and they have found new tools inside Telegram, right? For low activity context, teachers can use the web version and prepare a short story. And one of the things I like about Telegram is that you can create quizzes, test-like quizzes, and have the results immediately. You can create surveys, something that you cannot do with WhatsApp. So with Telegram, you can have the text, you can have a short text read and have 4 or 5 options for answers, and immediately have your students read and answer them. Okay, with better internet connectivity, you can play videos, you can set up questions, have students write short reports in group. Okay, I think these 6 new skills, or sorry, 6 new apps would make it more fluid. Some other resources, we have Kahoot, which was already mentioned in the comments. If you have worked with Kahoot, you know how wonderful and how great it is to work with it, because it's like building your own Who Wants to Be Millionaire game, right? You can work around a series of questions. You can develop readings or video quizzes, okay? And one of the things that you can do is base your own activity on something that has already been developed, which is great because it has a great community. And you can use something that another teacher has previously used. Or you can build and organize your own Kahoot and then obviously share them not only with your students, but with the community. So Kahoot, if you have already worked with it, is wonderful. Johannes?
Great. Great. It's not only that it's wonderful. Like last year, Kahoot added a new like a new gadget in the community, is that you don't have to play or work with Kahoot just online with the students, you know, like this face to face.
Oh, it could be
you can also develop some activities. Yes, you can send assignments so the students can work on that, and still sending assignments on Kahoots for students to work. It's still on the free version, so you don't have to pay pro Kahoot to get that, to be able to send assignments. So talking about WordWall, it's also a great place for resources, and it's free. You just get registered and work with different type of activities, like Who Wants to Be Millionaire type of activities, like scrambled sentences, matching pictures with words. It has an unlimited type of resources, you know, types of resources that you can work in WordWall. And apart from that, if you open your own profile and you create your own space and you select activities, or you create the activity, if you want to create it, you can do it. Or if you want to use one from WordWall, you can use it, and you send the link to your students and they register to make the activity. Then you will be able to see which student participated, the score he got from the activity, so you can provide a feedback, to your students, even though when you are not, you know, like this face to face, it can work asynchronously, and it's great. It has a lot of activities that you can work with. Spider Scribe, it's a tool that I normally use for practicing writing and reading, because it's a tool that helps students develop online mind maps collaboratively. The teacher designs the activity, it shares the link with the students, and then the person who has the link can access and start working and developing this collaborative online mind map. Okay, so you can practice writing and reading with this, and also develop critical thinking depending on the level you're working with at the activity. You can also develop critical thinking in your students, which is what at the end, not just using the language, but using it correctly, what we want from our students. So these are some of the resources that we wanted to share with you, that it doesn't matter, if you're working online or not, they can be helpful, because technology is here and we're supposed to include it in our lessons, because most of the students we're having now are students that are native digitals. And if you have some others that they are not native digitals, which is also possible because we do, there is still a chance for them, to learn, because if we as teachers are learning how to improve this, how to work with this in order to help them, but I think it is also part of our job to teach them how to work with this. Okay. Okay, so let's see what else do we have here. So what can we conclude? We have been 2 years of pandemic. The first years were rough. The second year was also a little difficult. Now they want us to go back. Some people don't want to go back, students and teachers, but still resources are there for us to keep working on whatever context is. So what can we conclude from this? We need to bear in mind that there will be always a challenge to face. Some years ago, it was probably the use of computers for some teachers and diskettes, not flash drives. Probably. Maybe that was an issue, or using or working with emails.
You jumped back like 40 years ago.
Yes, probably that was a challenge or something. I mean, and it was a challenge. And here you are using Zoom right now in a live session, talking to people, training yourself, not in a conventional classroom or venue, but through an online platform. So there will always be a challenge if you're teaching, if you're learning a language, if you're teaching, or for any profession, in this case, with teachers, okay? And the real situation is that I think we mentioned some of this in our forum on TESOL last year. It's that adaptability, it's a skill that teachers must not neglect. And we have to embrace it. We need to adapt for our own sake, because if not, we're gonna be, like crazy. And also, for the sake of our students. Number two, constant preparation will always come handy. This type of activities, you attending a webinar for you to receive information about experiences of other teachers, research-based presentations with tools, and it's something that you always need to go for. There is always room for improvement and for training. And there is always something new that we have to learn. We're teachers.
I read something very interesting the other day that says that anybody who's out of school and is not constantly under preparation is an undereducated person.
Definitely. Definitely. And if us as teachers, we consider that there's nothing for us to learn. So believe me, there's nothing for us to teach to our students, because we are supposed to be constant learners. Focusing on the lack of resources will make us overlook what we do have. As we said before, focus on what you have. I know sometimes complaining is necessary. You need to, work on your catharsis and, let it out, like, oh my God, my supervisor is not helping, or whatever you want to say about your supervisors or your school supplies. We understand that, we've been there. But I mean, you do have certain resources, and some of the students, for not saying all of them, have certain resources, and there are some free apps and tools and that you can use for working. So start counting what you have, start using those, and start learning new things and new ways on how to use those things you have, and pay less attention to the resources you don't have.
Very good. Any resource can be useful. Any. I mean, if you have puppets, use your puppets inside your digital classroom. If you have one of those handy boards, I don't have mine here right now, but I have this one, right? If you have boards that can send messages to your students, go ahead, use them. If you have whiteboards where you can scribble at something and use it, go ahead. If you have flashcards, go ahead. Any resource can be and will be useful, all right? So it's not just a jump into a digital world. No, we can still, and I like the message that I read just a second ago, that says something like, these should be used in a real classroom. Yes, of course. We should be using these kind of resources into a real classroom, and hopefully that's exactly what's going to happen. Once we go back face to face, we will be even more prepared, and we will have better skills for dealing with homework and home done activities. Okay, so any resource can be really, really useful. The second observation I have here is networking, right? Not just your local community, but also international networking. What TESOL does is fabulous. We come together as a family, all right? And Johanna said it previously. What you are facing as a challenge might already be something that a teacher in Turkey or in China already dealt with, Okay, so networking is always necessary. We need to build our networking community. Okay, and last but not least, believe in your creativity, right? Creativity always plays a very important role. If you don't have puppets, then find a way of making sock puppets so you can deal with your scarcity at home. Or yes, go ahead, go through that closet and try to find outfits. Wear an outfit, wear a crazy outfit for your students, and make them wear crazy outfits for the classes. That's a great tool, all right? If you are going to teach something related to 30, 40 years ago, why not wear something from 30 or 40 years ago and let them know, play music for them. I mean, creativity has always been a very important part of teachers. Just because we are locked into a room and using our camera doesn't mean that we have to stop being creative, okay? So there we go.
Well, thank you very much for listening to us.
We have a lot of questions. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for staying with us till the end. And Mary, I think we're ready for the questions.
Yeah. I was writing messages for the audience. I'm sorry. Oh yeah, I mean, I was paying attention to everything you were saying. I mean, I find it very, very interesting. And I have a question myself, and I'm sorry for the others who already wrote their questions. Wait for me, I will read all of them. But I have a curiosity, and because you said, I mean, this survey was not, I mean, this study was not only made in one country. So which countries were surveyed? So, I mean, we can have like a context of the population for this research.
Yeah. The survey was done, or we tried to reach as many people as possible. United States, Colombia, Argentina, Peru, Honduras.
We got answers from Spain.
Yes, from Spain as well. India, from which is place, it's in Praga. We have a couple of teachers also. They did, and in Japan, Mexico, and a couple of teachers from Canada as well, that they do not live in the capital, but like in provinces. So we have like a lot of Latin American countries. Also, we have to say that we contacted people who are teaching in these countries, but some of them were Latin American people working in those countries, even in India, or I mean, in Japan, or in Spain. But we did have, I mean, for example, here from Peru, I did have some colleagues that they're Peruvians, they work in the regular system that was included. So we had Latin America, Europe, and Asia included in these 13 countries.
And in Venezuela.
Yes, for sure.
Wow. More than around 15 countries?
I would say.
Yes, I would say.
15.
Yes,
wow.
Yes.
The
first time it was 13 countries, but then when we sent, I mean, again to survey for the second time in December, we reached like almost 16 different countries.
That's right.
Wow. Okay, so let's see, because we have different questions in here. For example, Julio Cesar asked 2 questions. Let me read the first one. Can we use handouts when we don't have internet? Good question.
Yeah. I answered that one when I was talking about the resources. Let's suppose you don't have internet, but you have the extension of your right hand, which is this little gadget here. It turned out to be the extension of the right hand. So let's suppose you have your phone, your smartphone, and you use the resources you have in your house to record a video. So you can program, you can write a script for your students, develop the activities, show them on video, and then send them the video once you have connectivity. They'll be able to download it when they have the connectivity. And if they don't, they'll be able to use the data from their phones to download it once they have the connectivity. So you don't have to have internet 100% of the time. You can do activities and then send them, so just when they have the connectivity. Or if you use your smartphone, you can relay instructions so they can move to a place where they can have Wi-Fi connectivity and download it. Okay, so not necessarily you have to be online 100%.
Okay,
And
so you already answered. I'm sorry, Johanna.
no,
You
I
already
was just
answered the second question
Yes.
Julio made.
I was just going to add to that answer, Mary, that now, for example, if you want to work with handouts, Google Drives also have a non-internet app. I mean, if you download the drive to your desktop in your computer or here, you know, there is this option that you can work offline. So you can work with the handouts there.
Oh, good one.
Yes.
Good one.
Okay, so Mayra is also asking, do you recommend to use one app every single day? One different app every single day?
One different app every single day.
So, I mean, to change the app, for example, Monday you use Mentimeter, next day you use quizzes, next day you use Kahoot, and then Jamboard, and then I don't know.
I think I think that yes, that is necessarily, but I also think that you need to leave space for your own teaching and for the way you normally develop your lessons, whether they are online or not. I mean, these are very good resources and they need to be incorporated in your regular teaching, whether they are online or regular face-to-face lessons. But I think, and it's my experience, depending on how you conduct your lessons and how interested and intrigued in your teaching your students are, I mean, the apps must be used at the very specific moment, a very determined time, where you see the necessity to use it, you know, as a complement. I do not suggest that you rely your whole planning, your whole lesson on apps. That it's not okay, because something cannot go okay with the app belongs to a server, the server can be down, and then at the end you have no lesson plan.
Wow.
That's right.
So you have to be very careful with that. I mean, you can vary during the week. If you face a student like 3 or 4 times during the week, maybe you can use an activity on Monday, but then you go on your regular teaching with different activities that you have developed for that, and then you can incorporate apps, but do not rely 100% on this, because
you're also facing burnout. Yeah,
definitely.
That's something you have to consider. All right, you're going to be working 5 days a week with different apps. You'll turn out to be working with 20 different apps in a month. You'll face your own burnout and students' burnout. Okay, so I would not recommend working with a different app every single day. Besides that, you have to give your students the possibility of working asynchronous, right? Maybe they don't have the connectivity that day, but they'll get it 2 or 3 days later. So they'll be able to work and deliver the activity 2 or 3 days later. Imagine working with different apps on a 3-day sprint, and then suddenly they don't have connectivity for those 3 days. They'll have to deliver on the 4th day 3 homeworks with 3 different apps that they have to learn to work with, and so on. So facing burnout could also be a consequence of that. Okay.
Okay, I have another question here from Karen. She says, I mean, there is a context. The question is at the end. It says, since gathering in a room to learn about a subject real time from an instructor has not been around for thousands of years, I believe language education will be moving towards online education in an increased pace, regardless of pandemics, etc. Okay, and now war. What's your take on this?
Pandemics just gave us the push that we needed to jump online. Okay, and we all feel, all language teachers feel this is probably what was the next step. Okay, pandemic just gave us a push off the cliff, of course, but we had to learn how to fly online. But pandemic definitely was that little extra push we needed to go online 100%.
To take the risk.
Okay. Yes.
Take the risk,
yes,
because
to
we
take the
didn't
risk.
want to.
That's
We
right.
didn't want to face technology.
That's
And
right.
at the end, we had to.
That's what I think about.
Definitely.
Okay.
And if you think about it, that is where technology, sorry, Mary, that's where education is going. That is where education is going. I mean, even though if you go back to face-to-face lessons, you will be sure that a lot of institutions, public in the countries that they do it for sure, or private, at least they're gonna go back and they will start working at least on blended learning. 3 days in school, 2 days at home, 3 at home, 2 in school, because schools realize, and I'm sure even public institutions realize, that the saving in resources and money, it's a lot. And even though people are working from home, the job is still being done.
Can I ask you a question? I mean, before going into the next question that I was about to read, I would like to know, how is education now in the countries where you are now? I mean, I think you are in different countries now.
Right.
Although you're from Venezuela, one is in Colombia, the other is in Peru. So how is education now? I mean, is blended learning taking place? Is the hybrid mode or online only? How is it?
2021 was online here in Colombia. 2021 was online. I have the experience. My daughter graduated last year from high school, and I had the experience of having a teenager inside the house working online all day. Not nice, by the way. Not nice.
Now it's face to face.
And now, but right now, 2022, students have gone back face to face, and most of the students are not happy. Many of the teachers have even gone on strike because they want something. Because they want something like blended learning, something like a mix between face to face and at the same time online. It's a hybrid concept that they're dealing with, and that's what they really want.
I mean, the reality here is a little different. Like 2021, it was supposed to be all online, and most of the schools were demanded to do that, right? But the public sector was really affected here because the public sector here, it's really, really poor. So there were like live sessions on TV on a national channel from the state that were showing some lessons, and parents were supposed to have the students watch that and then be in contact with the teachers. I mean, to work. 2021.
Wow.
This year in March, the new school year started and they went back to classes in public schools. They tried to make, like the biosecurity measures and stuff, but they're still dealing with some things. A lot of teachers are complaining because of that. They are on the edge of a strike as well. And especially public sector. And if you go to, private school here now, they give parents the choice. You want your kid to come back? We're gonna receive him. You don't want your kid to go back to classes? We're gonna teach them online. So at least private schools are dealing with these two type of realities. They're having kids inside the school because parents, they need to work. They can have the kids at home and they send them. But they are also offer the parents the choice. And I know it by firsthand because one of my friends is doing like that. The kids are online because he didn't want to send them back to school. So that's what they're facing here, teachers, most of the teachers here.
Wow. That's Peru.
Yes, Lynn, yes.
So I have another question. Azra says, which app mostly you prefer for effective online adult classes?
Well, my students that are adults, they love very much Kahoot, and they are adults, married women and men.
Wow.
Yeah, so especially if they are, like competencies, because you can have, a competition. You can have a competition, in Kahoot,
you
like
get
with different
points.
students, and you get
Male
points.
versus female.
And they get points.
They love that.
Especially because you can play videos, and those videos not necessarily have to be cartoons. They could be the TED Talks. They could be videos oriented towards historical facts and things like that.
Yes.
So Kahoot is a great is a great tool.
Yes, they also love
Wow.
Warwall, because Warwall offers a lot of different activities. I mean, you can have Who Wants to Be Millionaire type of activity in Warwall. You can have, a spinning wheel, or you can have matching your cards with time, or rearrange before the clock, ends up, like, you have no time. So even adults enjoy that.
Another question. I have face-to-face meetings. That's Aliani who said that. I have face-to-face meetings every 15 days. It's great for me, but there are some students who decided not to take back to class, not to be back.
Not to come back to classes.
Not to come back to classes. They don't attend school. What can I do in this case? I need a plan B. Wow.
Eliani, one thing you can do, well, I don't know if it's a mandate by the school, if it's obligatory, or if they're flexible there. But one thing you can do is, and this would be great, not only for you, but for your students, you can set up a camera in those meetings. Go ahead, set up a camera, use your phone, set up a camera, record the meetings, record what you're doing. That way you won't be able to, you won't have to say the same thing 2, 3, 4, 5 times with those students who do not want to join the meetings, okay? You just, or ask, why not? Ask one of the students who have participated or who are doing the face-to-face meeting to be the cameraman and record the whole session, and that way you'll be able to have what you already said in the meeting recorded, even for the ones who attended the meeting.
Yes, so they can review the class. I was gonna go for that. I mean, I have a colleague, a friend, that she works in Venezuela in one of these rural areas, and that's what she's doing right now, because even when she works in a public school, parents are not sending the students because of the COVID or whatever. So that's what she's doing. If you have the opportunity to record the session, go for it, and then you won't have to look for another plan B, because I already taught that lesson and I have to see the way I can teach it. You can record your session and then share it with the students to their parents' phones or something.
That's right.
Wow. Okay, I have, this is not a question, this is a comment that Ali makes. He says, I think it's a man, I think. I think the moment you feel the alarming signs of burnout syndrome, you should take a break and spend more time to refresh and remotivate yourself. You are humans, not machines.
Yes.
Yeah, you need a trip to Cartagena.
Oh yes, definitely.
You need a trip to Cartagena. Just to
sign me in.
Okay. Ali also said it was totally online between September 2020 and September 2021 in Turkey. I mean, this person is in Turkey. And right now, mostly face-to-face. Kerem says 2021, 2022 academic year is being done in varying amounts of hybrid teaching in Turkey in all levels of education. Azra says, I think pandemic will change future to newborn blended learning.
New norm blended learning.
New norm blended learning. Yeah, I think.
Now, I agree with this comment and the previous one about the evolution of education. If you talk about the terms of evolution in education, I always like to do this comparison. You look at a car 100 years ago, and you got a very old car. You look at cars right now, you have a fantastic futuristic. We even have flying cars. I don't know if you know about this, but we already have flying cars. You look at the advances of telephone. You look at the phone on the wall, and now you have the phone in your hand. But if you take a picture, sorry, if you look at a picture of a classroom 100 years ago, you'll see the blackboard and the desk. And you take a picture right now, you look at the whiteboard and the desk, or the smart board and the desk. So I think this new norm will benefit us as language teachers enormously. Okay, we will jump into a different state of education, and we're already riding this wave. We're already riding this wave. Well, what we have to do is surf it up. Okay.
Yes, definitely. It's
Okay.
there's no escaping. There's no escaping to these guys, even though we go back to regular lessons, face-to-face
That's right.
lessons. There's
Even
no
if we go
escaping
back
for
to
this.
face-to-face.
COVID just pushes on down the cliff. We're already here, and we need to embrace it. I was talking to Marisa months before we started, and I told her I really don't know if I want to go back to regular lessons. Yes, I was telling her.
I already took the leap. I'm not. I don't work face to face anymore.
Yes, me neither. They were asking for some private sessions for me to go to some place. I am sorry, I work online. I mean, that's how I work.
That's right.
Okay. Okay. No more questions then. And well, I'm very proud and honored that two of my colleagues from Venezuela were here. I mean, two of the best in the area of technology. Let me tell you. They are here, and they gave this webinar for TESOL Call IS, and it was very interesting. I mean, everything you said about the survey that you had on more than 15 countries and the questions from the audience. Thank you very much. But before we go, I would like to invite everybody to let me share this with you. You know that. And in a few weeks, we're going to have TESOL International Convention in Pittsburgh, but you can attend online, and it is free, okay? This time, it's going to be free to be at the Electronic Village 2022. So I would like to invite you to be here on these days, March 23rd, March 24th, and March 25th. With a bunch of presentations, and the best thing is that you can attend, and it's free, okay? And this is an international convention. So please don't forget these days, March 23 to March 25th, okay? On those days, you can attend TESOL Electronic Village 2022.
Great.
Okay, let me see. Let me stop sharing. Let's see, there are some comments in here. Okay, nice comments for you guys. Thank you very much. Thanks for this meeting. It was so interesting. Thanks for the inspiring webinar. Thank you all for attending this webinar. I mean, you are part of it. If you were not here, I mean, we wouldn't have this webinar. Thank you very much. And I hope everybody has a very nice weekend. I'm very happy that we all, enjoyed this presentation, and we'll see you soon then. Thank you very much for attending.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very
so
much. Thank you very much for attending. I want to say especially thank you to Petra and Maria Prieto. They are my students, and they registered for the webinar.
Oh, so cute.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I stopped recording already.
Okay.
Okay.